The courtroom was silent. The pastor stood still, his Bible pressed against his chest. Across the room sat a man determined to shut down the church. But this isn't a story I was told. I was there. I saw it with my own eyes, how everything unfolded, and how God gave His church victory. Because before this case ever reached the courtroom, it was already settled in prayer. In a quiet neighborhood, a growing church led by Pastor Daniel had become a place of refuge. Every Sunday, voices rose in worship, prayers filled the atmosphere, and lives were being transformed. It was a place of life, a place of hope. But peace doesn't go unchallenged. One day, a foreigner moved into the area. He was wealthy, influential, and deeply irritated by the sound of worship coming from the church. At first, it was complaints, then warnings, then threats, and finally, a lawsuit. The church was shaken. Members whispered among themselves. Workers grew uneasy. Fear crept in. What if they shut us down? What if we lose everything? But Pastor Daniel did something unexpected. He didn't panic. Instead, he called for a gathering. That evening, the church was filled, not for a regular service, but for something deeper, something urgent. The pastor stood before the people, lifted his Bible, and spoke with calm authority. "Tonight, we hand this battle over to God." Then he read, "And I will provide a place for my people Israel, and will plant them, so that they can have a home of their own and no longer be disturbed. Wicked people will not oppress them anymore, as they did at the beginning." 2 Samuel 7:10. Faith rose in the room. They began to pray. Not ordinary prayers, but deep, desperate cries to God. Some knelt, some wept, some lay flat before Him. Every fear, every outcome, every uncertainty, they placed it in God's hands. That night, something shifted. The courtroom victory. The day of judgment came. The foreigner arrived confident, certain he would win. But the church came with something greater, the backing of heaven. As the judge prepared to speak, the room grew still. Then the verdict came. The judgment was in favor of the church. For a moment, there was silence, then tears, then joy. God had done it. The man who came to silence them was left speechless. He had tried to fight in a land that was not his, and against a people whose God answers by fire. The unexpected turn. Shortly after the case, the landlord approached Pastor Daniel. "I have another place for you," he said. It sounded like a blessing until they saw it. The place was too small, far too small. Every Sunday became a struggle. The church overflowed. Members stood outside. Some couldn't even find space to stay for the service. But instead of complaining, they prayed again. "Lord, you promised us a place. This cannot be the end." They held on to the word. "I will provide a place, and they will no longer be disturbed." The miracle land. Then one day, unexpected news came. There was a land not far from here. Strangely, no one seemed to know about it before. Pastor Daniel went to see it, and what he found left him speechless. A vast land, and on it stood a building. It was everything they needed, but it seemed impossible to afford. Then God moved again. The story of the church had spread. People from outside, strangers, supporters, even those who had never stepped into the church, began to give. Help came from unexpected places. Resources came from unlikely hands. And by the hand of God, the church bought the land. The new beginning. Construction began. Expansion followed. And the day they finally moved in, the atmosphere was filled with thanksgiving. Voices rose again, stronger, louder, freer. No opposition, no threats, no fear, only peace. God had fulfilled His word. What started as a battle over noise became a testimony of divine intervention. God didn't just defend His people, He established them. From pressure to peace, from limitation to expansion, from fear to fulfillment. When God gives you a place, no enemy can take it away. and no power can disturb your peace again. If this story blessed you, follow this page right now. There are more real-life testimonies coming that will strengthen your faith. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.
Praising the Lord, always praising the Lord.